it to me, guys. It's Celeste.
It's Melody.
I'm so.
And you're listening to Heavy Worship Nation. Tonight, we are here interviewing Anthony from Saving Jackie.
Hello.
Hi, Anthony. We're doing good. Welcome. Well, I'm so excited to have you here. I know this interview took place one time. Chill.
It was me. I'm sorry. I deleted it. It was an accident.
Honestly, though,
that interview was a lot of laughing.
It was, man, we had such a good time. Y'all missed out, but we're gonna do it again.
I'm excited. I'm ready to laugh. I'm ready to just, hear testimonies. I'm ready for everything. So thank you so much for being here. So to get started, I wanted to, I guess, for you to introduce yourself and what you play in the band and how many members are in the band and just how did the band get started?
Well, my name's Anthony, of course. I'm the drummer for Saving Jackie, and I play other roles as well outside of being drummer. But we're a 5-member band. I'm the drummer. My sister's the vocalist, Jenny. Our bass player is John, and us 3 were with a band called Jackie on Acid. Ooh, years ago. We have 2 guitar players. We have a rhythm guitarist by the name of Joseph. He recently joined the band 2-3 months ago. And we just officially brought in our lead guitarist 2-3 days ago, Raul. So y'all will be hearing and seeing more of Raul coming soon. So I think this is our first announcement that I'm doing on an interview with him, and we haven't even really on our Facebook page. But
I was gonna say I haven't heard anything like this.
Yeah, well,
Raul
used to play with Un Loco. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Un Loco. Un Loco was a national band out of Austin, and like in the 90s when I would say early 2000s, really, not 90s, but early 2000s, right about the time when Union Underground got signed. Un Loco got picked up by a label, and Jackie on Acid played a show with Un Loco just before they got signed. Shortly after we played with them, about a year or 2 later, they got picked up. And yeah, they did. Yeah, they did a lot of touring. They played a lot of shows. I think they got a song or 2 on WWF. Played. They had music videos and I think 1 or 2 videos on MTV back in the day. And
cool.
Somewhere later, Raul joined the band, and then fast forward more, Raul joined us on guitar. So yeah, so it's good. So yeah, it's you guys get the scoop.
I love that. That makes me feel special.
Very.
That makes me excited. I also wanted to ask, what genre would you consider y'all's band? Because I know you said that, about what y'all used to be called, and it seemed like it was a little bit different from when I was listening to the music. But yeah, I know we'll go into that more in the questions later. But I'm curious though, because we could think one thing, but coming from you, we will know from the source.
Yes, we don't want to miss a genre. We're woke.
So yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I wish I can give you something specific, but I've heard people call us new metal. I've heard people call us rapcore. I heard this other guy call us something else. And me, I honestly, I've always said rap, rock.
Okay.
But yeah, man. I mean, I don't know what label we fall under, to be honest with you. We're not out for labels and stuff, and we just play. We write what we write, what comes from the heart, and I guess that's the best way to put it across. I mean, we've never been one to like want to sound like a band or let's do this, you know. Hey, this is new, this is cool stuff. We're new metal, you know what I mean? Now let's sound like this. Yeah, yeah, we just write and but you know, I'm not opposing any titles or any you know, any criteria that people put us under. I mean, people said we sound like Rage. We've been compared to POD. I mean, just different rap bands that rock rock groups that are out that have been out there for years. I mean, and it's all a blessing, right? I think that to be compared to national acts or a national act, I think that's I don't know that I think that's awesome for people to you know to even a good band that I used to like back in the day. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's funny that you say that because when I saw you guys at that Brutality show, the first time I saw you guys, I was like, wow, like it's kind of new metal, but it's not new metal like Relent. And you guys kind of do sound like Rage, but not like full on Rage Against the Machine. And you guys kind of do have, I think rap rock would be the best title for it because it's not really rap, but it kind of is. And it's not quite rock either, but it's still, it's
yeah,
cool. I like it.
Right? It's its own
Hmm.
thing. But I seriously think if I had to like narrow it to like the closest, I would definitely say Rage Against the Machine, but with a
Yeah.
woman fronting it. Like
yeah,
this, like the musicianship, like everything, like the rapping and like just everything. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is my jam because I never thought I would see like a Christian version. And now I can say, if you like this band, you will like Saving Jackie.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love it. It's so
So
good.
right about the time when all the I think Rage was already they were you know when we started Rage was I had already been out, but I wasn't really a fan of Rage back then. Not really. I mean, I heard of them and I thought, well, they sound cool, you know. They're different, right? And then I guess shortly after that, I saw my sister perform. She was singing with a rap group, and they weren't anything like what we do, what we sounded with Jackie on Acid or Savings, nothing like that at all. They were more, they played with some, they would do a beat, right? Play, then they would just rap to it, and I mean, it was a little more than just a beat, right? It was some music playing in the background as well, and my sister would always see me play live. I felt, well, but you know what? That's my sister. I got to go support her, right? I got to go watch her sing and go watch her perform. So I did. It was a bar on the south side, and it was packed, man. I had number one,
What?
I had never been to that bar. It looked kind of like a rowdy type bar off. If I remember correctly, it was in the area of Pleasanton,
Ooh, yep.
area 5 out there, right? It was something out that way. And I think that day I was kind of I had called a couple of buddies, hey, let's go hang out and watch my sister sing. And they're like, well, what kind of music is it? And I told them, like, no, we'll meet you
What?
over at Aqualand, or yeah, we'll catch you at the mix. Right. It was like back in those days, those were the places to hang. So I'm like, you know what, man, I'm gonna go see my sister and I'll catch you guys there at the mix or something. So I watched her play. Well, first I saw a couple of groups play, and I'm like, dude, when is my sister gonna play? Right? Because it wasn't my thing. I knew a couple of people I grew up with there, and we were hanging out and having a couple of drinks. And my sister gets on stage, and
Mm-hmm.
music kicks in, and then the flow, and I was like, oh,
Wow.
heck, man, it sounds good because I had really never heard my sister. I mean, I would hear her mumbling, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Boom. But I never really heard it. You know, you could hear the noise. I mean, you could hear her voice, but you just couldn't hear it clearly, right? Because I would be in my room doing my thing, and you know, and I would listen. Oh, okay, and then that was it, right? I just didn't pay any mind to it. Now she's on stage. She's got a mic. She's got some music playing in the back, and I'm like, wow, this sounds pretty cool, man. Well,
Wow.
and then my mind starts running. I'm like, dude, I'm in between bands. And then I heard her partner sing, her name was Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
They were both in the same rap group, and I'm like, man, she's good too. And I knew Tracy. They would come over. She would come over to the house. You know, she would hang with my sister, and you know, we became family friends. You know, through the years, and
Yeah.
uh, I'm like, man, she sounds good too. So I'm like, maybe we can do a little jam session and see how that works out, right? So I think it was like the following day or 2 or 3, whatever it was. I talked to my sister. Hey, man, have you ever thought of jamming with a band? She's like, no. I'm like, yeah,
Oh my gosh.
just a jam. Well, who? And I told her, well, me and my bass player. And she's like, what? So I used to play in a band called the Sneetches. The band breaks up. Now I have nobody I'm playing with. And then I see my
Oh.
thing, and I had this little epiphany, right? Oh, let's see how it sounds with a bass and drums. And me and the bass
Ooh.
player, we were like real tight, man. I mean, we were like, we didn't. I mean, we had a guitarist play with us, but it was like when we jammed, me and him, we would just jam just us two, and we would play for like hours, right? Just drums and bass, and it sounded good. Um,
Wow.
so we did drums and bass and vocals with my sister and Tracy, the other vocalist, and I don't know what we did, but it sounded good. I mean, it was like, wow,
Wow.
dude, you wanna jam some more? They're like, yeah. So we jammed together another, we jammed together another day, a week later. That sounded good, and we're like, hey, that's when I knew, okay, we're onto something. It still sounds good. We need a guitar player. So we of course we went through the whole auditioning thing with guitarists. We finally found a guy that was auditioning, and it sounded good with him. I mean, his ideas were great, and I'm like, man, shoot, we already got this band. We don't even have a name of a band. And the guy's like, well, what about the name Jackie on Acid? I'm like,
What?
oh, dude, actually, it has a ring to it. I mean, nobody in the band and Jackie on Acid did acid, right? I mean, it wasn't at all, it had nothing to do with
Mm-hmm.
that. But what it was based on, it was apparently, I can't remember which Rage Against the Machine song it was, but that name was pulled out of the lyrics out of a Rage Against the Machine song that said Jackie Onassis. The
Oh,
guitar
okay.
player thought that the lyrics were Jackie on acid. So
So
he,
this
you
happened.
Wow.
know what I mean? He got the
Yeah.
name crisscrossed somehow, but I thought it was like the most coolest name, and we used it, and we were together about, I would say, about 5 years, 4 or 5 years, and in those 4 or 5 years, we did quite a bit. We played with a lot of national acts. We played a lot, and we were very heavy in Texas. We played Corpus, San Antonio, Austin. I mean, we played everywhere. Anywhere and everywhere in Texas they let us play, we play. Um, uh, yeah, and then of course, 5 years later, personalities start. People are like, well, I don't know if we should continue with this anymore. So yeah, it was time to put the band to rest, and we did. We broke up in '03. We started in 1998, and
What?
then yeah,
Whoa.
Stop.
we broke
What?
up we broke up in 2003, man. And
Oh my
but all
gosh.
those years of playing stages and writing songs, it set a platform, man. You know what I mean? I mean,
Mhm.
it set. I did not know. Fast forward 2017, my sister calls me. Well, she's my sister, right? So we keep in touch. We talk pretty often. So she was like, about 2017, she starts calling me, hey, let's put the band back together again. I'm like, and do what? She's like, let's do let's like what we did with Jackie on Acid. I'm like, dude, nobody wants to hear rap rock again. Like, no, you don't understand. I'm like, no, I don't know. Yeah, but let's play it. But now we're gonna do it for God. And I'm like, nah, man, I don't know. No. I'm telling you, this is what God wants. I go, you know what? I'll tell you what. That if this is what God wants, then pray on it. I'll pray
Mm-hmm.
on it. And if God opens those doors, we'll go from there. But if I don't feel nothing from God, I don't know. But let's pray on it, right? So, like, right about 2018, I mean, I had no drum set. I didn't. I completely sold everything. I didn't have. Well, actually, I did get back into playing again. I stopped playing when I started going to church. I'm like, no, this life isn't for me anymore. This music life, I'm just a straight, I'm just gonna be a average Joe Schmo, and I'm not gonna play music anymore. I'm just gonna focus on a career, focus on myself, be a better person, be a better Christian type thing, and um. I one day I started getting this urge to play drums again, right? So I bought a drum set, and I started playing drums at church. They reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, you're a drummer?" I'm like, yeah, but okay, good. You're playing tomorrow for our men's fellowship." I'm like, "What?" "Oh yeah."
Yes, come on,
And I'm
Lord.
like, well, what songs? Like, "Oh, you already know the songs. All the songs we play, we're just gonna pick like five, and we're gonna play them." So okay, it was the men's fellowship. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I can pull that off. I don't know what happened, man. So when I play on stage, it's like I'm a different person, right? Like we all
Mhm.
musicians get that, I guess. It's a whole different. People meet me in person, and then they see me on stage. They're like, "Oh, we didn't know you were like that."
Love
so
it.
so so I played, and I don't know what, man. It's like I blacked out, man, at that men's fellowship. It was like I was intoxicated with the spirit, dude. It was like God took over. We started, and then we ended, and I don't know what happened in between. Like,
Wow.
just played, But I mean, it all flowed, it all went well. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? It's not like I passed out and I don't know what happened. It's like it just like God just flowed, man, took over. And it was like, man, this is God telling me it's time to play again. So I played with that church for, let's see, maybe with the praise team. I went from that men's fellowship playing with the praise team for about a year, about a year and a half. And then I got offered to play so they brought in, so I was supposed to fill in, and then I was the drummer, and then I was playing with other drummers, and then I just wasn't
Mm.
getting enough playing time, right? So this other church calls me and they're like, "Hey, we hear you're a drummer." I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "You want to come? Can you come help us play a service?" I'm like, "Sure." So of course I go, and that church had it pretty together. Um, they had they would do like they would have Sunday morning, they would have an 8 o'clock service, but they would do like a practice at 6:30 in the morning on
What?
Sunday.
Whoa, that's
That's
Yeah,
early.
man. I was
early.
like,
I'm
what the
sorry.
heck? So I show up at 6:30 in the morning, dude, with my kids. I
Oh
mean, I
my
get them up at
gosh.
5 in the morning, and my kids were little, right? They were like toddlers, right? They were 4 and 5. So I go to church Sunday morning, and that was my day off, right? But I would go to church. I would go to second service like 10 o'clock. But my kids remember, man, waking them up for church. I taking them to McDonald's, right? They get all excited. McDonald's.
Uh,
Go to the church, get there by 6:30, and we're practicing, man. So we did that first practice, and I picked, they were playing some familiar tunes. I was some familiar songs. I was so I knew I could play, and we played that first church service, and they're like, well, you want to play again? I'm like, sure. So well, when I played again, I was very impressed with the musicianship and the caliber of musicians of that praise team. Then I heard, now, I mean, you could have a good praise team, but where it all comes down to is the word, man.
Come on, you better
You
preach
know what I mean?
it.
It all comes down to the word, man. So I'm like, well, yeah, this praise team is very good, but what about the pastor? I heard the pastor preach, and I was like, dang, this guy's got a lot of wisdom, man. He just wasn't preaching the word. I mean, he just didn't read the Bible. He'd break it down, and then he'd give the scripture, break it down in a sermon, and then there was a lot of wisdom with it. And I'm like, it was a little different from the church I was attending. You know what I mean? I felt more. I felt it was more meat potato stuff for me, and this is what I needed, right? So I did. I that church, and I played for about 2 years. Bought another drum set, and um, I went from playing drums to getting more involved in other ministries, and then I wasn't playing drums anymore. So I'm like, well, God doesn't want me to play drums, right? So I donated all those two kits I bought. I donated them to the church, right? I'm done.
Wow.
More. So I got into the ministry. I got involved with. I was a chaplain for first responders. So I started volunteering with the fire department, and they ended up hiring me full time. So I was a full time chaplain, full time ministry at a fire department, and I was just busy, man. I mean, I was seeing things, hearing a lot of things, listening to people talk, listening to trauma, seeing a lot of trauma. And I went to this training that they had. So I responded to that oh gosh, man, I'm sorry. I can't remember that was a couple years back.
Oh, I think the video froze.
Yeah, it's froze for a second.
Couple years ago in 2017 or 18? It was 18. So they had that church shooting. I was coming back from Houston with my wife, well, and the family, right? And a chaplain friend calls me. He's like, "Bro, did you see the news?" I'm like, "No, man. I'm coming back from Houston. I'm driving back to San Antonio. They just had a church shooting." What? He's like, are you gonna need any assistance? Because I was a part of a chaplain emergency group, right? I don't even know what's going on. He goes, "If I were you, I'd call the people you're with and see." So I called my fire chief. I'm like, "Hey, chief, is everything okay?" He's like, "Bro, are you coming back to San Antonio?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm already on my way back." He goes, "You're gonna be needed over there. Come back here. Come back to San Antonio, and I'll give you more directive." Right. So I got back to town, and in between that, other first responders people were just blowing up my phone, right? Because I got involved in the first responder world. I had other law enforcement calling me. I had firefighters calling me, people letting me know what was going on, people involved in Bear County and stuff. So by the time I got back to San Antonio, I had already had I knew a little more than what the news knew, right, so to speak. So I got back into town. It was about 10 o'clock at night. I get a phone call. "Hey, you're going to, I can't remember, one of the little towns by there. You're going to the little town. They're going to set everything up. And then we're gonna start doing. They call it debriefs, right? So you meet. It's like a group. You meet with groups, and what we were trying to do is to meet with the first responders. We have a group session, right? You have a counselor with you. Everybody gets a chance to talk. Your usual group type stuff. That whole week, we must have done maybe, oh man, we must have did like maybe 10 groups that whole week.
Mm.
We started Sunday and we ended Thursday.
Wow.
By Thursday, I knew anything and everything about that incident because everybody we spoke to were first responders that responded to the church, right? The day of. And they saw a lot of trauma. And and I'm listening to these people talk. And some people are better, storytellers than others, right? Some are very to the point, and some are very detailed, right? And some people are very good storytellers, right? They got you going from the beginning to the end, right?
Yeah.
And by the time it was over, dude, I was like, I just couldn't hear anything anymore about that incident, right? It was still on the news, they were talking about the investigation. I just couldn't hear it anymore. I mean, I had up to here with it already. Not that I didn't care. It was affecting me, right?
Yeah.
Personally. I just couldn't handle it. So that day there was an organization called the 100 Club. So that was on a Thursday. Thursday night, later that evening, I drove to Dallas for a conference for first responders, and it was regarding mental health. So I'm sitting in the class with 100 first, it's chaplains, cops, firefighters. There was 100 of us, right? Mainly first responders. There was a couple of chaplains like me, and the guy talking, the instructor, he was like, how many are y'all first responders? And the people that were raise their hand. How many of y'all are chaplains? The chaplains raise their hand. And he's like, how many of y'all have a hobby? And out of 100 people, maybe 10 people raised their hand.
What?
I didn't raise my hand, right?
Wow.
I didn't have a hobby. I didn't have a hobby. The hobbies that these guys said they had, they were hunting. It was mainly males that were in the room. There was very few females, but not even the females had a hobby, right? The guys that did talk were hunting, fishing. Some guy said he did welding. Some other person said they did like woodwork type stuff. Some that he did leather, like leather art craft stuff. And I remembered, man, I used to play music for a hobby, right? And man, I enjoyed it, and that stuck with me. So I come back to San Antonio, and I needed that getaway, right, from all those debriefings. I come back to San Antonio that Monday, and next thing you know, I'm starting a first responder band, right, with me, the chaplain, all these firefighters.
What?
Yeah.
Do you have videos of that? You have like pictures?
Yeah, man, I'll show you, man. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's us No, I think we did one show.
What?
Yeah. So
I wish we could have seen it.
Hey, though, we could have another Heavy Worship Nation presents first responders.
Oh yeah. Woo!
This was all before Saving Jackie, man. So this is me getting back into the thing again. So we did a show. We did an open house for the fire department. I had the idea because I had to talk to a couple of the guys who are like, they said they played instruments and stuff, and we did. Some people are some people are a little more serious than others. Some people have time to play, some didn't. So we did. We learned a couple of tunes, we played, and people liked it. It was good. We got offered to play other shows, and it was one of those one-time deals, right? We practiced for that show, and then that was basically it. It just, all it did was light a fire in me, man, the jam.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting a drum set. No, actually, I got offered to play by another band. They gave me a call. They told me, hey, we heard you're a drummer. Would you like to audition? We're a Christian band. I'm like, what? You're a Christian band? It's like, oh, yeah. Would you like to play with us? I'm like, yeah. So I did. I jammed with this band for a little bit. I ended up, because of them, I got a drum set, put this kit together. I mean, then I played with the group. And I just got this, I started getting more of an itch, man, to play more. And the band, great guys. I mean, I talked to the guys. I still talk to that group, to this day. The members have changed with that band. But I'm still friends with those members and the people that are in the band now. I'm buddies with some of them too. But it was because of that group. I got that itch. My sister calls me and she's like, "Hey, so when are we gonna play?" I'm like,
God's
okay,
timing.
all right,
Confirmation.
let's jam. So I called the bass player and a guitarist, and we had a jam, and it was like we never broke up, my sister and I. It was just like it just all came together, man. And I got the fever again. Are you there?
Oh no, we're still here.
Oh, okay. So it's like I got the fever, man, to play again. And I'm sorry. I got the fever to play again. And it didn't work out with that drummer. I'm sorry, with that bassist and guitarist. We put ads out, and our old bass player from Jackie on Acid reached out to us to the ad. And I'm like, wait a minute, does this guy know we're a Christian band? So I go, well, my sister's, well, we put Christian band on the ad. And I told
that's good enough. Right?
I did that. And then so I told my sister, you know what I'll do? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna reach out to him, because at this point I hadn't talked to him in years, and I didn't know where he stood in faith.
Well, was he saved when y'all were playing Jackie on Acid, or was everybody in that band not saved?
No.
Or did
Yeah,
y'all
I
just
was
like
curious
not know?
too.
No, there was none of us were. We were all in the world, man.
Gotcha. Okay.
We were all in the world, man. We were all like, yeah, no.
So
no,
what
no.
started like that change, of because I know like the questions that we kind of talked about last time, like what did Jesus save you from, and how did you know that you were called to create like heavy worship, like stuff that's not contemporary, like I know you said that God gave you that push, but like what was, I guess, like, was that situation that happened with the shooting like the end all be all that made you want to completely immerse yourself into going back to what God called you to do? It surely seems that way.
Well, I think I was already in ministry doing something else. I just wanted to play and have a hobby. That was the whole point. But I think what God was just giving me some tidbits and opening that door of opportunity for other things. Because when I got together with those firefighters, it was secular. It wasn't anything. I mean, don't get me wrong. Those guys were believers, right?
Yeah.
The firefighters I played with, and because I was their chaplain, I knew they were believers. But it was just, we were playing some cover tunes, some country stuff that we were doing, and but I think when that Christian band called me, that's when that door opened, right? That whole arena of doing Christian music opened up. And it wasn't for them, I don't think I would have, if that door wouldn't have opened, I wouldn't have taken it. You right?
Wow.
So it was just all God, man, that opened that door. And I mean, how many bands call you and tell you, hey, just come on over. We got everything already. We got drums. We got it all, man. All you got to do is show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a divine
That's awesome.
appointment, my friend. If I ever knew it.
and
Yep.
I didn't even have drumsticks. You know, I just
Oh, wow.
showed up and they had everything there and I played.
That's so beautiful. Oh my goodness. That's like heavy. Like what? Like that is like insane. Like I had no idea. I mean, you know, a lot of the people that don't know you probably didn't know this about you. Like they probably just know, oh, he's just a really good drummer and you know, in their band and they play like, you know, all these places, but it's like, you know, I know a lot of people get curious about like behind the scenes of like how this person became to be who they are today and just sharing that. Like, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Like, that's like, wow.
Well,
I'm
thank
like
you for the interview.
flabbergasted. I love it. And that kind of like gets into the next question, which was how do you get inspiration? Like, especially, I mean, or do you just like write the drum parts or do you help with like the writing? Like the lyrics, like what is, you know, what all do you or do you what do you do like in the writing process?
So usually we start with a guitar riff. And usually I guess with some of the guitar riffs that we've written songs on, what we do is I mean somebody's doodling, right? While we're at practice. And I'm like, dude, that sounds so cool, right? Play it again. And then it just kind of falls together after that. You know what I mean? Well, it doesn't, it's not all of them are that easy, right? I'm not trying to make it sound all that. It's not really. It's really it's a process. Sometimes it takes a couple of practices to really have that song already arranged, lyrics. Because you know, I mean, music, man, it's not. It could start with an idea, and then everybody comes together and just kind of puts it, you know, and hey, you know, and then we start arranging. Yeah, the bridge should go here. Okay, let's do verse, chorus, bridge, or pre. Let's do this pre-chorus to the chorus. You know what I mean? And then we start moving things around, and then my sister, when we started the project, I didn't know what I mean, I knew what the lyrical content would be, but I just didn't know how it was gonna go, right?
Yeah, the execution. Are you going to be in your face, subtle?
Yeah.
How's this going to
So,
go?
so if you listen to our earlier stuff with my sister rapping, you couldn't really understand her very good, right? I mean, it sounded good. It just you couldn't really, you didn't know what all the lyrics were about, right? So I told my sister, look, if we do this band, it's gonna be Christian lyrics. People need to know what you're singing. I mean, what people need to know what you're saying. So you need to be, you gotta enunciate. I mean, this is all behind the scenes stuff, right? That I don't think I've ever said this in an interview. But dude, he freaking kick butt, man. I mean, people, you know, people are understanding the lyrics, and I mean, I understand them now. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then uh the lyrics that God's touched her heart with, man. I mean, it's intense, man. It's intense. I've been touched by our, I mean, yes, it's our music, but I mean, I play the song, but you know, when you're in that trial, man,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You go through that trial and then you play a tune that, and especially if one that you're a part of. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
you don't think about you playing, you just hear the song, you're like, dude, I've had tears come down my eyes, man, from you know what I mean?
I
It
do.
inspired me, and yeah.
It's like a little baby, like you're literally giving birth to a little baby, and it's just like this beautiful thing, and you're like,
I love it.
It's true. We went to the studio a couple weekends ago, and like I love this bass line, at least the structure that the guys gave me for it. So I'm like, let me fiddle with it a little bit. right? We laid down the drums, the riff was done. So I'm just like filling in the bits and pieces. And I like the structure before I messed with it. So the little tweaks that I made just, made it even better. Man, when I was done with my part, I was crying. They're like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "These are tears of joy. It's so beautiful." Oh, it's amazing.
But think
just
about it.
To go through that.
But think about it. If it touched your heart,
Yeah.
think of the minute it touch. Well, once you release and it's out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
Had never experienced anything like that. So I get what you're saying, like the whole creative process and just bringing forth something that has its own life, and it's like a little bit of everybody, and it's not like just one person did one thing. It's like a collaborative, collective breathing thing. It's amazing. And I think it's so special because you could hear that in Saving Jackie. You could hear where everybody brings in their own bits and it all just comes together the way it's supposed to. And I think that's what makes music really good, is when everybody brings their own bits and you have that freedom to just let it grow. It's really neat.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
I think I don't know. It's when we do our writing, it's never been. I played in another band before where it was the singer and the one guitar player. They wrote all, and then they're the ones arranging it, and that's, of course, that's I mean, there's different ways in writing songs, but it doesn't really give room for creativity from the other musicians, right? More being told what to play. Oh, don't play that. Play it like this, And with us, it's kind of like, I wouldn't say it's all free reign, because I use a term with the band. They're not all winners, right? So it's either gonna fit or it's not gonna fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for the most part, the way we write it's worked for us. So and for other people it works for other people. So there's no, I'm not knocking a writing process with anybody. It's just, I think when you get the band involvement from the different members, they get personal touch to it, right?
That is so good. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that with us. Like, that's, I know a lot of people are going to be listening to this because you guys have so many fans. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, and then you're like, oh, we haven't said this in another interview. I'm like, yes. And they're going to be like, oh my gosh. Like, this is some new team.
Yeah. Not a lot of people knew. Well, I do Chaplin stuff, so it's like not a lot of people know I do that too.
That's awesome.
They're gonna be calling you more after this. I love it. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to Melody, and she's gonna ask you a couple of more questions. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to you, love.
Okay, so Anthony, what is your favorite song that you guys have written so far?
Oh gosh. I got a few. I mean, okay. I like, I've been, the blessing is I've been a part of the writing, somewhat of the writing process. But I would say the one song we came out with, My Faith is Larger. I gotta admit, when we wrote that song, I didn't take to it right away. It grew on me. So, the band liked it, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're the, no, just because I don't like it, we're not gonna play it. No, we ended up recording it. That wasn't a song I didn't think was that would make the cut, as far as that wasn't my pick, because I think we wrote 5 songs and we went to the studio to record only 3, and that wasn't my pick for a song to record. And I got outvoted, right? I had 4 members, and I got outvoted on that song, and by the other 3 members, right? So,
Wow.
so we recorded it, and it ended up being our hit. So
Oh
that
wow.
kind of like, so during COVID, just before COVID, we went to the studio, we recorded, everything was great. Life was the way it was before COVID, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
COVID hit, and we had just finished up the recording, and I'm like, well, what are we gonna do with these three songs? So then I'm driving around listening to the radio, and then they're talking about, wow, the internet, the internet is so, and it has so many people on it. Apparently the system was kind of slowing down because too many people were online, and that's
Mhm.
when I another epiphany, right? I'm like, we got to put these songs out now. We need an EPK. We
Mhm.
need
Yes.
we need to put I mean, everything that had to do. We didn't have anything online. We didn't have a social media presence at that time,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
we started like Facebook, everything, TikTok, everything. We did it. We did a web page. We did everything. We did a Reverb Nation EPK, and I just started pushing it, man. I mean, I had nothing else to do but get online and push it, and I pushed it, and it paid off because we were getting attention from people from other countries, man. I had a guy reach out to me from Guatemala. Uh,
Oh.
I had a guy reach out to me. Oh gosh, what country was it? I mean, there's so many from. I had people reaching out to me from countries from South America, man.
Mhm.
Ecuador, um, wanting to know saving Jackie and if we were willing to do an interview. I'm like,
What? Right
sure,
away?
but of course
Wow.
I'm Latino, right? But my Spanish isn't it's not real fluent. But so that interview led to us playing Exodo Fest online. I mean on virtual Exodo Fest,
What?
because Exodo Fest, well, of
Yeah.
course it's an actual live festival, but
Mm-hmm.
because of COVID, um they just went virtual, man. And I'll be honest with you, uh before even I even started seeing or hearing about bands going virtual, the Latin countries were already going virtual. I mean, they
Yeah.
were already ahead of the game,
What?
man. Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
I'm
They
telling you, dude.
they
I keep
were
telling Celeste about Brazil. Like, it's happening down there.
yeah,
Wow.
they were already ahead of the game before the American bands were jumping on that
Mm-hmm.
bandwagon, right? But we were
Mhm.
already part of that trip with them, because
That's
everything we
awesome.
did virtually were from the Latin countries. We weren't doing anything in America, virtual, right? Nothing
Mm-hmm.
virtual.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Exodo Fest, we got invited to play that, and it just opened doors to other virtual shows from Argentina, Ecuador, Colombia. Oh gosh, man, I can't think of all of them. We did quite a few. We did quite a few. And then I guess that's when we got asked to do more, more interviews, and
Mhm.
we had one or two from Brazil. It was just, yeah, it was just all, it was all to me. Yeah, COVID was, it just wasn't a good thing, man. But during that
Mm-hmm.
time, Saving Jackie was able to, I guess, because of the shutdown and people being home, people looking online, and
Yeah.
that we were able to get attention because of that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So there was blessing from that with us. So yeah, so we were able to get that presence online, and it was all God, man, that we got that traction online.
Mhm. And see, all of this bad stuff was happening, but also God, look how God just looked out for his children at the same
Amen.
Yeah,
time.
Man.
Like his people, he just opened the doors when it didn't seem possible to do anything. So I
Yes.
think it's amazing testimony of how God worked behind the scenes to even get you guys together and get you back together,
Yeah.
renewed in Him. And then when COVID hits and all this death and destruction is going on, He sends out the light through you guys. Now think about that.
Yeah.
All over, not just like in your hometown, like
Yeah.
all different places, shining the light. And I feel like it was the perfect time in a way. Like his timing was really accurate to have you guys even have your songs ready before COVID hit.
Mhm.
Like the timing was just on point. What else is
Yes.
he doing, right? What else is he doing?
So, just to book studio time during COVID, it was impossible. I
Mhm.
mean, everything shut down. Everything shut down. So when we try to book in the studio again, they had just lifted some restrictions to have, for the studios to reopen and actually have people in the room again, in the studio rooms. And yeah, it was an interesting time, man. It was serious. It was very, very interesting to experience all that, and then to experience the good things that came with it too. So it was a blessing for us, and in some instances, yeah.
That's awesome. So, what is your most memorable moment with the music so far? Do you feel it was COVID time, being alive, or is there another like memorable moment that you would like to speak about?
There's since we got back together and we've been playing. I mean, it's been such a blessing. Um, and I'll tell you the blessings. It's really being on stage again it's awesome, right? I mean, yeah, playing again on stage and doing it again. But I
Mhm.
think the 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 bigger blessing is being able to pray for people from other states and other countries,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
and to take this minute, literally take this ministry to the world, man. God said, take take the gospel and take it to the world, and God has definitely used us. We're average people doing average things and an average band, and God got something ordinary, and He's using it for His glory. You know, um,
Mm-hmm.
He ordained us to literally take it to the world. I mean, I've been the blessing. I've been able to pray for people uh in other countries and here in other states. Um it's something I would have never done as a chaplain here in San Antonio. I of course I mean, I'm sure I'd be making impact here locally, but this is literally like these are people I would have never met, ever
Yeah.
here in San Antonio.
Mhm.
People I'm meeting out because of the music, because of the band, and because of the reaches we've been out. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
being able to be out in these areas. I mean, people hearing about us and listening to our music. Um, it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing, and I think also is reading some of the messages that we get sometimes
Mhm.
of how our music's really impacted people in a very godly way, man. It uplifting spirits and encouraging. Um, yeah, I I won't say names of the radio station, but we were asked. I got introduced to this radio DJ. Well, I didn't know he was the owner. I heard he was a radio DJ, and it was through a friend that I met through playing music, right?
Uh-huh.
She was a friend online, and she connects me with this guy. Hey, give him your music. I'm like, okay. So we connected. I submitted my music to him through Messenger, and the guy's messaging me back. He's like, hey, man, I really dig your music, man. I like it. I'm like, oh, thank you, right? You know, and to me, it's always humbling, man, to hear that from somebody, right? And then the guy tells me, wait a minute, are y'all Christian? And I'm like, and I looked at the radio station. I kind of like where he was responding. I think it was from the radio station messenger. And I looked him up and I'm like, oh, these guys are not, these guys are secular. I told him we're faith-based, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The moment you say you're Christian,
Yeah.
They
people
just, you
already
don't know
got
what you're
this
gonna get.
stigma. Yeah, they already got the stigma, and they're like, "All right, no, I don't want to. I don't want to hear it." Right?
That's
Yeah.
so
So
sad though. Like,
It's true though. It is. There's that glass ceiling is real. You can only go so far if
yeah,
you say you're Christian, and that's why a lot of these bands don't want to be a Christian band.
so
wow.
um, he heard our music again, and he replies back. He goes, "You know, um, I'm not Christian." I'm like, "Okay," you know, I'm replying back. This is all through Messenger, right?
Mhm.
And the guy responds back to me. He goes, "I'm pagan." I'm like, "Okay,
Okay.
right?" So he's like, does that bother you? I'm like, no, right?
Oh my gosh.
So
I'm
he's
ready
like,
for this.
well, I'm just gonna let you know that my radio station is not Christian. It's a pagan radio station. I'm like,
Stop.
okay,
What?
yeah. I'm like, okay. He's like, that doesn't bother you? I'm like, no, that doesn't bother
How you
Even
gonna play it
better.
though? How you gonna
He's
play
like,
Saint Jackie though?
he's like, you know what, bro? I used to like Striper when I was younger. You know, and then he starts, you know,
Oh my gosh.
it kind of broke some
Bring
ice,
out
right?
Striper.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
hey, Striper, man, they're bad, man. They're
I
good.
love
I
them.
freaking love Striper.
For
So
real.
he tells me he
I
loves
like them too,
Striper, and then
but
he
it's
said he
like
liked,
that's their go-to.
I think he liked POD, and then
Mhm.
you know the conversation we're texting, right? And he's like, you know what? I like your music.
No,
I'll
that's
play it in
good.
our radio station,
Yeah.
and he did, man.
That's
He
how you
played
get the
this.
souls.
He played this on the radio station, and that to me is that's was something memorable for me. You know what I mean? It was like,
Yes.
and you know, and I'm not the guy. I'm not gonna knock. You know, people tell me who they are. I got friends of different faiths, different religions. They are who they are. You
Mhm.
know, I respect them and I love them as a person. Um, I'm not gonna knock. I'm not gonna get into this thing with them, man. You know, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna get religious. And now I am who I am, and you know, I'm about respect. I'll respect you, but if there's that disrespect, um, hey, I understand, and I'll just go about my I'll just go about my business, right? Just you know, I'm not gonna argue and you know get you know start some beef with someone. I don't even know who this person is. Anybody really? I don't
Yeah.
know who these people are. You know, I'm just not, man. I'm not gonna get into it in any way, whether it's religion or politics or anything like that. I'm not about that, man. Even in my personal life,
Mhm.
just no, it's not worth it. You know, I rather if people accept me for who I am, fine. If they don't, I understand. You know, no,
Mhm.
in life, not everybody's gonna accept us, right? It's just the way it is.
Mhm.
Right.
But yeah, yeah, that was very that was a memorable thing for me too. That he played our music. I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah,
That is awesome. That is so cool how that worked out and how you know you didn't even expect this to happen and then
yeah,
the door opens and one of the most mysterious places ever, right? Like that's just mysterious. Yeah.
yeah. Well, see, and I guess um I just didn't know what to expect, you know,
Yeah.
and I'll be honest with you, just the way the conversation went with him, which well, just the way the conversation went in text, he had some bad experiences. It sounded like he had some bad experiences with Christians, man.
Yeah.
And I think we're Christian, us as Christians, where we need to be. I'm not saying, if Jesus sat at the table and broke bread with sinners, why can't we?
Right.
See,
Come on.
that's the one thing about ministry, man. People are people sometimes get a little, sometimes people get a little too religious, man.
Mhm.
You know, if you think about it, the people that are you there?
Mhm.
We're
Yes.
here.
Hello?
Yeah, no, we're still here.
It might be lagging again.
Oh no. Well, here we go again. Welcome to Heavy Worship Nation podcast. Yep. Where spiritual warfare is all-time high all the
Oh,
time.
Lord.
All the
Help us,
time.
Jesus. Help us, Jesus.
We are going to do an episode for y'all about spiritual warfare, and we will have some stories for you. And if that rings a bell for you, stay tuned for that, because that is coming soon.
Very soon.
All of us can attest to that.
I love how he said that that the guy was like a pagan. He's like, you realize that this, that he's saying he's pagan, and you're Christian. Like, are you sure you want your music? And it's funny because we as Christians are like, yeah, go ahead, man. Like, this is awesome. And they're like panicking, like, oh Lord, I don't know.
They're like, look at that crazy Christian. But it makes sense, dude, because it's like, that's the perfect opportunity to bless someone. Because if if it's dedicated to all pagans, you got like the witchcraft, like everything happening over there. And then you bring like some worship in that, there's got to be some impact. Somebody's got to get saved through that.
Yes.
Somehow,
Amen.
some way, whoever's listening. Heck, I mean, I wanted to ask him, like, because like, did that guy end up getting saved, or is he still a pagan? Like, I'm like really curious about that. But
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I'm
Me
just
too.
like, wow.
And
I
like that shows the power of music too. Like, if your music sounds and you put in the hard work to create good music, it can go so far, considering, like, even though he thought the pagan guy thought it was worthy enough to be on his channel. So that means they put in enough work and enough talent in this music that it was able to go into places of the unknown, because they're like, it's heavy, but they're not thinking about the lyrics or things like that usually. But then the lyrics are penetrating,
Yep.
it's like the light is shining through the lyrics, and you're speaking life to these people who are normally every day speaking death over themselves and cursing themselves with lyrics, and the light is coming into that space, and I'm guarantee it's impacted a lot of those people in many ways, whether they even knew it or not, just from the word and the sound of life coming into them. That was amazing. I really like that story.
Thank you.
So good.
So we wanted to know if the man ever said anything else, or what happened, what happened once your music was on there, or did he follow through? Did he ever
We
talk
need
to
a
you about
follow-up.
the word?
Yeah, we want to know. Let's have him on the podcast too. I don't care. Bring him on.
We were gonna do we were gonna set up an interview, and then I don't know, it just didn't happen for whatever reason. I guess it didn't. And then I reached out to him recently, and I don't think he's doing the radio thing anymore. So yeah, so I think right in there, things just kind of, the communication between I think they played our music, and then I had talked with him not too long ago, and he told me that they were not doing the radio station anymore.
Interesting.
Maybe
But
God
That
has
is
started
interesting.
something in him.
so,
Yeah.
but check it out. I think people heard our music, and we actually met a fan from Greece.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, man. She's from Athens, and she's pretty cool. Yeah, I would have never known, Greece. You know what I mean? This is like on the other side of the world. Who
Yeah.
Greece would hear
For
of?
real.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I that's all God, man. I mean, it's just, we played Jackie on Acid. We were like, yeah, we had a Texas following, right? But it just wasn't like the way it is now. It's like we just just different countries and stuff, and I don't know. It's just a blessing to meet people and have and being able to connect people from other countries like we have.
That is
It-
awesome.
yeah.
And so what piece of advice would you give a new musician, like someone that is new, totally trying to create heavy worship, like in their music, in their style? What kind of advice would you give them, being a, brand new one,
Work hard.
Mm.
Work hard. And I think that the song that comes to mind, and this is a secular song, but everybody's heard it. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, and that's a song, AC/DC, right? But it applies in any band, whether it's Christian or secular. It takes a lot of dedication, a lot of work, and to have an understanding that not everybody in the band is gonna. It's just that work that's put into the band. It may not be. There might be one or two people that work really hard to make it happen, and other people are working. It's just there you might get a workhorse in there, and that are behind the scenes making things happen, and so yeah, it just working and working hard, because working hard always comes with fruits, man. Always fruits.
That's good.
It could just be emails, reaching out to radio stations, reaching out to podcasts, magazine. I mean, it's not just getting a show. There's a whole lot of other stuff that goes behind it too. I mean, and social media, make a strong social media presence. Take advantage of what's there, and yeah, and just reaching out to people, letting people know that you're there. You know what I mean? Make that presence.
I agree with that. And I gotta give it to you guys. Like, y'all are on it. I mean, y'all are on it with making the shows. Y'all are on it with the social medias. Like, y'all are on it with connecting with people.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys work hard. Like, I'm always seeing y'all stuff pop up on my feed, and like people are engaging, and that is like truly amazing, because like, as coming from someone who does, like, well, one of us, I mean, we all three contribute to the podcast, but it's like, imagine just like one person like doing it all by themselves. Like, I can't imagine. It's not possible. Like, it's gonna just be a mess. And so the fact that you guys are like, I don't know if there's like a specific person that does the social medias or that books the shows, but I mean, either way, kudos to y'all, because y'all are doing a lot.
It does take a team, right? Because it's not saving Jackie's, not saving Anthony, saving Jenny, saving anybody specific in the band. It's saving Jackie, right? So whoever's in the band, it's we're the band, right? And sometimes being in a band, you gotta encourage a lot, man. If you know what I mean, you really gotta, like, you don't want to push them, but you want to encourage and love on the musicians, man, because they're not getting paid for this, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you're like Metallica, or I mean, or maybe okay, let's get Christian right. Maybe Skillet. You're
Skillet.
national band. Yeah, you're getting paid. But like a band like Saving Jackie or any other Christian band that's like us, it's all for the love of music, man, and it's all for the love of God, man. It's not, there's no money. I mean, I can't pay my bills with anything that, no, yeah, there's no way. I mean, whatever money we make don't even make my house payment. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's not even, whatever money we've been blessed with, we try to generate it back into the band, and we try to use that money to do other things like recording, studio. It just whatever comes, our whatever we feel that the needs are for the band, we'll put that money towards that, whatever we make. Yeah.
That shows that you guys truly have a heart of worship, and that the light in you is greater than the light on you. And it's just very evident of that, because the fact that you guys are like working hard with Saving Jackie and working hard for your families, and you guys are tending to relationships. I mean, it's not easy. Like, and we're actually going to have an episode about this, interviewing some wives of the musicians that we have interviewed, and seeing how their life is like, because I mean, I can only imagine, like, you got the kids, and then they're at home, and then, y'all are out. And then, of course, we were going to ask Jenny to be on it, because to have like a band member's experience, and then like to have like the wives with it. So we are so excited for that. But yeah, that's a lot.
I'll let my wife know. We'll see if she wants to do that.
Yes, let her know.
She's gonna be complaining. Oh, no.
But you know what? So many females out there, they want to marry the worship leader. They want to marry the musician. So it's like, you know what? You think you want that, but you need to understand what actually comes with it. Like, do you really want that? Do you really want that? Because I'll tell you right now, like, it's not, you have to be strong. That's all I'm gonna say, is you have to be strong.
So I'll tell you what, there's been many times where I've been on a hubby wife date at the movies, and I'm doing text messages, emails, phone calls. It just, the phone's my office, literally, right? So I get messages sent to me. It depends, right? It could be on a daily, it could be a couple times a day. And this is just messages I'm getting, right? And that's not including the stuff I put into it. So yeah, it gets throughout the day, you're just kind of like doing a little something here, a little something there, a little something here, a little something there. And then I'm with the wife, and she's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Pay attention to me. Right?
Yeah.
This is supposed to be about Pete, not the band.
See, that's why I took off my watch. I was like, no notifications. You're just gonna take it off, disconnect for a second. So yeah, it's a real thing.
I got the most notifications I've ever gotten within this interview, which is insane. I'm just like, what is going on? I was like, what? No. Since when? So I do have a question for you. It's a little bit out of our normal podcast question. How many churches have you played in, and how is that whole scene? You're not playing normal church music. How easy is it to get into the church scene, and do you enjoy like the non-church scene stage presence? You see what I'm saying?
That's a good one.
That's a rough one. I'm just kidding. To be honest, we haven't really done a lot of church events. Now the festivals we played, not very many like local church stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're more the places that we're playing at are more bars, club setting type stuff. It's not not a whole lot of churches.
Well, I'm glad that you're saying that, because I think the analogy is some people, when they start a heavy worship type of style and they're looking for venues, they're really having a hard time understanding where to go to get these opportunities. And so that's why I'm trying to like bring to the forefront that you may not play in a church, but that doesn't mean you're not spreading the gospel. That doesn't mean you're not being used for God. And I'm glad that you said that there were some bars, because there's a lot of Christians that are making heavy music who would never think that they would ever play in a bar. And so it's just, I'm just opening that book for the future, for people who are just starting out. Where can you go? How do you get these venues, you know? And
yeah. So I think playing at churches, it would be the same concept as looking into a bar. But you know, but I see why, and I'm going to give an explanation. I would think that would be harder with a church, because a lot of churches don't want to open their doors to something outside the church. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. They're just trying to. It's just the shepherd trying to protect their flock, right?
Yeah.
They're not familiar with the with, I guess, the metal missionary, right? Like
yes, I love that. Metal
they're
missionary.
not, you know, you get a guy like me, and I'm reaching out to this church that I'm not familiar with, right? I could see that they would be hesitant not to want to work with what, a metal Christian band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's just been so easy. It's been so much easier to book at a club or bar. Well, number one, they don't know. I mean, they hear the music and they're like, yeah, when do you want to play?
Yeah.
So it's like, it just, I don't know. I mean, not that I'm not opposed for churches at all. I mean, we, of course,
absolutely. Right.
But the opportunities for us playing at churches haven't really been, I guess, there haven't been very many church opportunities, so to speak.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah.
You hear that? We need that to change. We need that to change, because that's
what I'm working on. That's hopefully we can get a little network going, so that way, whether you want to play in a church or a bar, there's like some type of guideline somewhere that you can go, because like it's not easy. It's not, because it's like you have some people that are really new in their faith and they're really scared. They're really scared to get back into the bars. They're really scared to go to these concerts because they came out of that. I'm not trying to go back into that. So it's like, at least that's where I was when I first got saved. You know, I love the music. I'm not trying to go back into that life, but I love the music. Like, how can I have my cake and eat it too? Because it exists. It's just like, how do we get it there? So thanks for asking that, Melody, because
such a good question.
It is a good question, because I think a lot of people need to see the truth of it. Churches are not the friendliest places. That's why there is so much church hurt, and it shouldn't be that way.
Well, but I do see why. I do, because, you know, they're not wanting to introduce. It's like there's pastors. I mean, I've attended churches where they just didn't allow just any pastor to come in and preach to their to their congregation. They had to know that individual, the other pastor, had to be somebody they knew, somebody they're you know, somebody they were comfortable with, right?
Right.
So, but you're right. I think there's got to be. I mean, I agree with Chill, because I was the same way. I didn't want to. I mean, I'm a new Christian trying to get out of that old lifestyle, and that I didn't want to open any more doors to temptation than what I had to. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, the Bible says flee from temptation, and I did. Right,
Mhm.
I ran from it and didn't look back, and now I'm in this situation now where I play at bars again and clubs. Um, so, but if those opportunities came open, oh yeah, yeah, we'd love
Yeah.
to do more local church festivals. You know, I think we've done one here locally in San Antonio.
Well, do you
And
guys still do that Harley thing on the first Saturday of every month? Do you guys still do that?
we don't got anything booked, but
Mm.
I might work on some stuff coming up. Right now we got shows booked, but for the year we're done for this
Yeah.
year, right? For
Yeah.
23. Uh we're gonna play in Oklahoma in February for a tattoo expo.
Oh.
And then we're playing in Austin. It's
Oh, really? That's where I'm at.
Yeah, so I'm at Liberty. The promoter didn't want me discussing anything yet till they officially play. So, but we'll be playing
Okay.
Austin soon. We're getting ready for
Mm.
that, and then we got Exodo Fest coming up again. Where we got invited to play this year. I mean, the 24. So
Mhm.
yeah, we're gonna be busy. We're gonna be pretty. Just brought this new lead guitarist in. We got a new video coming up soon.
Woo!
Yay.
So yeah,
Perfect.
we got stuff going on, and we've been so blessed. We just did an impromptu photo shoot with the new band, right? With us
Mm.
now. Oh gosh, there's just been so much going on. We got invited to play in a town near College Station
Mhm.
Mhm.
for a motorcycle club.
Oh,
So
I think I know what you're talking
cool.
about.
Oh
Mathis, right?
yeah. That weekend that I went to Florida to get to get an award for the band,
Mhm.
uh, they played that Saturday, and we had already made a commitment to that.
Uh-huh.
So like, dude, how are we gonna? I can't do. I mean, there's no way that we can. So I was gonna cancel the show. I'm like, well,
Mhm.
no, that wouldn't be good because I knew the guy that was booking us, right?
Mhm.
So I told the guy, look, man, I won't be there. I'll get another drummer to play. But I
Mhm.
told the guy, I'm gonna fly out to Florida. We got nominated for an award, and if we win, I like to be there to get it. But I'll get this drummer to fill in for us. So I
Mhm.
ended up getting this. Oh man, Tony Ramos, man, who's a uh, guy revered. I looked up to here in town. Um, he's like an awesome drummer, and for him to say yes, I'll fill in for you, I was like, yeah.
Woohoo.
you know so we
That's
hired him to
awesome.
play with us, and while I was in Florida, and the blessing, we won, we got the award.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that. Yes,
I remember seeing
congratulations.
that. Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
Right.
good.
yeah.
That is
So
awesome.
if we would have canceled that show, that would have closed doors to opportunity and College Station. This
Mhm.
is supposed to be a way bigger show than the one here in town. So we're getting ready. We're getting ready and working out details for that as well. So we'll see. We'll
That's
see.
Okay.
that's so good
All
because
right.
that like leads into what I was gonna ask. Like, can you guys like, or sorry, can you like plug you guys' socials and stuff? Because I know we're gonna get into the gospel, but I want to be able, since we're on this subject already, to like like your Facebook, your Instagram, where to listen to you guys, if there's merch, where we can go support you, all stuff like that.
Yeah. So I mean, if you Google Saving Jackie, you'll find us in all the blessing. You'll find us in all the social sites, Spotify, YouTube. I mean, Facebook, Instagram, all of them, TikTok. Um, Merch, it will be www.savingjackie.net. yeah, you can purchase merch there, or you could just listen to our music and, catch an interview, watch some music videos of the band and so forth. Yeah, that's the best way to catch us.
Thank you
Nice.
so much. I'm so excited to see what you guys are gonna do next year, and with just everything that's been going on that you guys have been posting about, just know that we're praying for you all, and that we just want you guys to keep going, because what y'all are doing is just impacting everybody in such a positive way. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for interviewing me, and I apologize. We originally had 3 members, me and 2 other ones that were gonna do the interview, and then life kind of like, life just kind of throws you some curves. So they weren't able to make it. So I'm like, well, shoot, it's just gonna be me.
Well, thank you for being the brave soul. It's like, I'll do it.
Right?
Yeah.
We appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Really, thank you.
Yeah.
So now I was thinking, we're gonna go ahead and get into the gospel, and I know that Chill is, I swear, she's just like an
I'm the
encyclopedia.
associate. I know, right? I'm the associate pastor of Heavy Worship Nation. Hello, everybody.
She's amazing.
All right, so
Listen, chill, right?
we'll make it quick. We'll make it sweet, because that is the gospel. It's good news, right? The Lord demands perfection. This is the truth. To be in heaven, you have to be sinless and you have to be perfect, which is not good news for humans in our current state, because we are not perfect. We are sinners, and we've inherited and probably done some pretty awful things. But the good news, which is the gospel, is that God came down to this earth as a man, Jesus Christ, to bear the weight of our sin and to pay the price and the penalty for that sin that we could not pay, which was death. So when you accept that Jesus is God, that he paid for your sins with his own life, shed his blood so that way you could be redeemed, and was raised from the dead on the 3rd day, that is how you get into heaven. It is that easy. It is that simple. And sometimes having faith can be hard, and sometimes believing can be difficult. But the Bible also says that as long as you have a mustard seed of faith, you can move mountains. So I encourage anybody who's never heard this before, or if you thought, I'm too far gone, I'm too far bad, you don't know what I've done, you don't know the life I've lived, right? You just, like, there's no way God could forgive me. There's no way that I belong in heaven. I just want you to know that when you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, not only is your debt paid, your sins are forgiven, but you become a new creation. You have a new life, a new identity, a new chance. The old is gone and the new has come. So if anybody out there is hearing this, and this is, you're feeling moved maybe, or you've had the Lord just over and over and over prick you, like, hey, maybe this is for you. Maybe this is something you should consider. Maybe you should just trust me. Maybe you should just take that leap of faith. I want to encourage you right now to do that. Do not wait, because nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. If today is the day that you feel like accepting Jesus, take it today, because you do not know what tomorrow holds. No one does. And the last thing anybody wants, at least us here, is for you to forsake this good news and this precious gift that can hold eternity in heaven from you, when it's as simple as saying, yes, I surrender, even though I have questions, even though I still struggle with my faith, even though I don't know. That's okay. You can still accept Jesus that way. He's going to come right alongside with you and walk with you through that process. Nobody is made perfect in one day, but I guarantee you, by the time you're done with this life on earth, what the Lord is doing within you is going to be beautiful. So if this is, again, something that you're feeling in your heart to accept, I just want to take a moment and pray for everybody who's listening at this podcast right now. If you want to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, it's very simple. Just pray along with me. Lord Jesus, I receive this good news. I receive this gift.
I receive this gift.
I ask that you forgive me.
I ask that you forgive me.
I ask that you fill me with the Holy Spirit.
I ask that you fill me with the Holy Spirit.
And I ask that you help to make me new each day.
I ask that you help to make me new each day.
My life is not my own anymore. It belongs to you.
My life is not mine now.
Thank you,
My
Jesus,
life
for
belongs
saving
to
me.
you. Thank you, Jesus, for saving me.
In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Come on. Give it
You're
up for
welcome.
all the people. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And if you accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior today, hallelujah.
Yes.
We're
And leave
so
it in the
happy for
chat.
you. Yes,
Leave it
please
in the
do.
chat. We will reach out to you. We love people. We love helping people. And we want you to know that you have brothers and sisters in the Lord that will support and help you. And we are just as excited to have you in this family. And we want to make sure you have some support. So let us know. And we'll be praying for you too.
Yes. Yes. We have group chats. We have meetups. We have pretty much almost everything for everyone. So if you're new to this and you're like, man, I've always wanted friends, but now I'm an outcast because I'm for the Lord, come with us because we are too.
Come.
We are crazy. And we are from the south side of the kingdom. So if you know it, you know what that means. Okay. We're not little cookie cut. No, ma'am. If that's what you're looking for, you ain't gonna get it. Yep. That's not what you're gonna get. So man, let's go. Hood and holy.
Kingdom hood.
From the hood,
Just-
misunderstood.
There we go.
I love
There
that
we
one.
go.
Yes. Please look us up. We are on all social platforms, pretty much. Just look us up, Heavy Worship Nation. We have group chat on Facebook. We have group chats on Instagram. Now we just formed one for a women's group. If you want to get connected and have like a men's group, because I know there's like things that you guys go through that you don't want like women to know about. We can help you do that. We're all about community here, so that's what we're all about. We're not trying to sell you anything. Legit, this is for the community. We want to grow as much as we can, as the believers as we can, and tell them about Jesus. And so if that speaks to you, look us up at Heavy Worship Nation on all social platforms. And thank you so much again for joining us today.
Yes,
seriously,
thank you.
Thank
so
you.
thankful for you
Having me here.
I wanted to tell you real quick before we totally let you go. The last episode, the one that I erased. I did.
Yes.
It was an accident because I'm an old lady and I don't know what I'm doing. Like I thought I had it backed up, but I didn't. It was the only copy I had, but that's okay.
Well, regardless, we had a good time, man.
We did.
It just, we were just kind of like, I remember we were laughing a lot, and that's the main thing. We connected and fellowshipped, and fellowship, talked about God and prayed. That's the main thing. So
yeah, I was going to tell you at that time when we recorded that, I was playing for the church, right? Me and Celeste, we were playing on the same worship team at the same church. Yeah. But I wasn't sure if I was going to start making my own music. And I had been feeling like the Lord, he was calling me more and more to go and do that. But I wasn't sure if I was going to do that. But because of that interview, because of that conversation that I had with you and Jenny, I'm serious. That night I went into prayer and I'm just like, Lord, if this is something that you want me to do, I need you to start moving these pieces and making it work. And here we are a couple months later. I ended up moving to Corpus, joining Gratitude. Like it really was because of talking to you guys, and just like the Lord used you to speak to me. And there was no way that I was going to receive that or listen or like be obedient. Like it had to be from you two. It just had to be, because I just wasn't going to hear it any other way. It took me talking to you guys on that episode to be like, okay, Jesus, I'm going to sit down. I'm not going to run anymore. And I'm not going to fight this. I'm going to take this to you. Is this really what you want? So I did. I wanted to thank you, because I wouldn't be where I am right now had that conversation not happened. And I'm sorry, everybody, you're never going to hear that.
Man, I'm so jealous too.
Hey, you know what? I think after that, I was like, well, it's been about a year, right? At least.
It was just because you had told me, you're like, that you guys had went on tour and there was something on your neck, and you're like, it ended up being
cancer, man. I was with cancer shortly after that. Oh, dude, it was like a whole nother level of stuff, man. Anyway, I'm healed now. I'm blessed.
Praise
Praise
But
God.
Jesus.
Thank you,
but
Jesus.
dang, yeah, man. It was like after that after that interview, it just like everything changed, man. It just we literally stopped for 7 months, man.
Mhm.
Mm.
After that tour, it was just a gamut of things that took place. My sister caught COVID. Our bassist, he started complaining of shoulder issues, and then he got checked out, and he next thing you know, he's getting surgery, and then I'm like, well, dude, if you're gonna go get your shoulder checked out, I'm gonna go get my neck checked out. So I did, and it was freaking cancer, man. I was like, what? So the blessing was the type of cancer I had was it was I had a high cure rate, so that was good.
Yay.
Um,
Praise God.
uh,
Praise God.
and it was a blessing, man. I went through what I went through, but the blessing was I got healed. Um, and man, God's good, man. God's good, man.
Amen.
Sometimes we got to remember that God is sometimes all we got. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
and you'll be surprised, man. I mean, no offense to people, but sometimes, it's God, man. Sometimes it's all God and nobody but God, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Mhm.
that's all you got. You know what I mean? And but it's funny. During that time, I had fans reaching out to me, people that saw the post that I posted, and they
Mhm.
were like connecting with me, and
Mm.
wow, man, I had a guy pray for me from Bolivia. Uh, Abdul White Metal was his name, and he man, that guy freaking made me cry, man.
Aw.
He made me cry. I was just in a whole another state after that interview. Things for me during that time were very sensitive in a sense.
Mhm.
Uh, and man, that guy, but he did a prayer for me, and I was just like, it's just,
Wow.
Mhm.
man. Anyway, and it showed me, right, whatever we were doing, people that God, the music that we played for God, right, used our music to touch their hearts.
Mhm.
Now these
Mm-hmm.
people are touching my heart. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Amen.
I mean, it was a blessing, man. I mean, to have people reach out to me and fans, right? People
Yeah.
I would have never known who they were, right? But
Mhm.
it just touched my heart, man. It really did. But anyway, yeah, yeah. Well, thank you, man.
Oh,
Again, having us on this on the show again, and it's always a blessing. Chatting with you, chill, man. You guys are awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for making the time for
You're
us.
amazing. Yes. Thank
thank
you.
you.
All right. So we're going to close out. And I'm Celeste.
I'm
And
Melody.
and thank you for listening to Heavy Worship Nation. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.